Hi, huge movie fanatic Nate coming at you with just a random review of just whatever, just because I'm only doing this just because I recently bought it probably within the last week, and I've recently seen it, of course, then within the last week, which is something that's no big deal or whatever. But like I say, I try to frequent half-price books every week if I can, frequent their clearance. I'm not going to say bin, I guess I just did. Clearance rolly racks, which of course now at mine it's like freaking $2. I'm loving it. I don't know if you can see the $2. $2. And I saw this spine and I'm like, shit. Metallica, some kind of monster. And I'm like, I looked at the cover, I'm like, what the hell is this? And I look in the back and it's like, it's a documentary. It's like 2 hours and 20 minutes about the making of the, oh my god, and it shows a picture of this guy, about the making of basically the Saint Anger album. And I'm like, oh, this is why I love half-price books. You know, like if you know what I love about it, one of the many things I love about it, this could be like a half-price books commercial, is you walk in there and you have no idea. You know, normally like if you go in a shop for, okay, I feel like buying this movie or that movie, you walk in there and you don't know what you're gonna find. I love that. And it's like, not only are you gonna find something that you're totally into, didn't even necessarily know it existed, but you're gonna be able to buy it for $2 fucking. So that's one of the many things I love about half-price books. So I'm like, having gotten into Metallica in the last 3 years, I'm like, that's cool, because I downloaded the making of, like a 2-hour making of Death Magnetic off YouTube. And I'm like, okay, well, let's see the making of this one, which is more drama because of all the shit, you know, the band's going through, where the one guy, bassist guy, left, and James is like going to rehab and all this shit. So this one's more fraught with problems. And like, I don't know, you know, I don't know if this is like, you know, reality TV, if it's some of it's bullshit, like, you know, Metallica almost coming to an end and all this shit, or if it's real, or, you know, that's one thing you never know in these things, if it's, you know, some of it's staged or all of it's staged or whatever. But you know, this of course was shot like in whenever, I don't know, I can't remember, that doesn't say, but this thing came out, it's got a 2004, you know. So yeah, I mean, I didn't watch this commentaries, but there's, you know, it's like 2 hours and 20 minutes, and then there's 40 additional scenes, which probably doesn't amount to all that much. But I mean, I could watch this stuff. I mean, the 2 hours and 20 minutes, it went by like it was 20 minutes. I mean, I could watch days and days of footage of just them, you know, or any band I like in the studio just doing their shit. It's very interesting. And you know, people have this idea that these people, and it even says and so in like the behind the scenes and stuff, when they do a screening for the fans and shit, it's like people have an idea that these people, you know, Metallica are just you know, gods from planet, you know, 4 or whatever. And it's just like, just to see these people who everyone, you know, fans perceive as gods, being in the studio, having like Lars' dad tell them, that sucks. And Lars is like, that was going to be on the at the beginning of the album. And his dad goes, I don't see it. And it's just like, you know, it's just cool. So, you know, I'm not going to give this stars or anything just because it's a documentary, but I just wanted to do a video about it. I would recommend it. Maybe it's on YouTube. I would imagine it could be. But there's one thing that, is it Kirk Hammett or Hammett? Yeah, Kirk Hammett or whatever said, that I really agreed with, where they were talking about, you know, not doing an instrumental track or whatever because it's dated. And then he's like, and I was completely with him, because he was saying, okay, well, if we don't do one, that dates it to now. Genius, because that's exactly right. I'll never understand this whole mentality about dated. It's so bullshit to me. It's absolutely bullshit. Like when people who see movies, old movies, because Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you know, the original is like 40th anniversary, and they did a 4K restoration, and it's gonna supposedly, not supposedly, I guess it's going to come out in select theaters, and then there's going to be, of course, a Blu-ray release of it. And you see people talking about, there's a trailer out, for it, and you see these young people who can't embrace anything that if it's not a part of their fucking current generation. And I'll never understand that. And people like, I don't know if Cookie Monster 70's watching, but people like him understand, like me, who can embrace things that weren't a part or are not a part of our generation, like old movies from the 20s and 30s and 40s, and old music. I mean, stuff like that. I don't understand this whole dated mentality. Like, if it's not now, it's no good. When it's the opposite way around, where if it is now, it's no good. But that's just my opinion. But so, to make a long story short, I agreed with that Kirk's little point there and stuff, and it was just very cool, very entertaining. So I would recommend it, especially if you're a Metallica fan, and chances are you've seen it. But it's called Some Kind of Monster, Metallica, Some Kind of Monster, a documentary about the making of Saint Anger. How do I feel about Saint Anger? My two least favorite Metallica records are Load and Reload, just because for me they took the radio friendliness of Black Album, which I think is good, but I mean, it's not as great as the first four records, and it took it and just kept not to say that there's not good stuff on Load or Reload, but I don't know, so those are my least favorite Metallica records, and I guess Saint Anger is probably next. I mean, it's probably the least, the record with the least substance out of anything they did as far as lyrics that make any sense or mean anything. But excuse me, one thing I like about it is just the rawness to it, and the it doesn't sound, even though Bob Rock is the producer on it, just like the last Black Album and Load and Reload, it doesn't have that like radio friendly selloutness feel to it. It's like raw and shit, and it does very much sound like a record that someone made like when they're in rehab, because it has that feel all about it. So that's a little bit of my brief feelings of Saint Anger. It's like very, for me, very, not very much substance in it, but I kind of like the rawness of it. And so that's how I feel about the actual record, Saint Anger, and that's my review for Metallica, Some Kind of Monster. The monster lives. Thanks for watching.